Dating life update, you guys. Definitely an update for you. So I'm spitting food out. Talking to this one guy. I like him a lot. He's a sweetheart, and but he's younger than me. I usually don't date guys younger than me, but he's taller, and we're both in our 30s, and so I'm like, okay. But you know, he's a kind of like a bodybuilder. I'm gonna show you what his body looks like. I don't really know if we're gonna be like in a relationship. I don't really see us like in a relationship, but I like him a lot, and he's really handsome. He reminds me of somebody that I used to date that I was like super in love with, and I was kind of thinking about that to myself. Like, am I dating him because he reminds me of Marlo, or if I'm dating him because he just looks really hot? But he low key reminds me of my ex Marlo, and I really, 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 really liked Marlo. Marlo had me crying on social media. Crying on social media, okay? This is the body of the guy I'm currently talking to. And he's like this gym rat that loves working out. This is another photo he sent me. Oh my, and I really like him. So we're kind of in like just the talking phase. I don't see anything too serious coming out of it, but we have been spending time together. Like, I snuck him in my apartment while my kids were at school because my kids won't let me have a boyfriend. Whatever that means. They always tell me that you're not allowed to have a man ever since me and her dad broke up. So I have to sneak around my kids and date people. Like, that's just trash. The last guy I tried to date outside of their dad, and my oldest son's stepdad and my youngest son's biological father, it didn't go too well because my youngest son like disrespected the living heck out of him, and it forced me to end up running back to his biological father because he refused to let me be with anybody else. And I was like, you know what? You know what? And I checked him. Don't get me wrong. I was like, you are not allowed to talk to adults like that, you know. But at the same time, it was just like, how am I gonna be able to date with my son cutting up like this? And so I ended up going back to his dad. When per usual, we broke up and it didn't work out. So I'm just like, you know, I sat down and had to talk to my kids. Like, you guys have to let mommy have a boyfriend. And so they're like still like anti mommy having a boyfriend. They feel like I need to just be here to just serve them. And that's it. I'm not allowed to have a boyfriend. They're like, you get in the kitchen, you cook, and you get my laundry done and get me ready for school, and make sure I take my bath and I get to school, and you clean the house, and that's it. You can't date nobody if it's not daddy. So dating for me has been a struggle bus. But at the same time, I be telling my kids, like, y'all don't run nothing up in here. But it's like they keep giving me pushback, like, you know, well, no. But at the same time, I was with their dad for 10 years. And so it's like, for me to be with somebody else is like, excuse me? You don't get to just be with my dad for 10 years and then go find somebody else. Like, it don't work like that. But at the same time, I grew up in a single parent household, so I'm used to the single mom. My mom was married 7 times. So I'm used to having a new stepdad, a new stepdad, and a new stepdad. But my kids, they grew up with one parent or one father in the house for 10 years. And so it's like, I guess, like, excuse me for not really understanding, you know, how the transition goes, because I'm used to the transition. My mom was like, oh, he's not your stepdaddy no more. Okay, off to the next. You know, but like, my kids had their dad for 10 years. And so it's like, they're not taking it lightly. Say their dad is because my oldest son, his biological father met him once when he was 7. But my ex-boyfriend raised him with me since right after his 2nd birthday. And so he could barely speak English when my ex-boyfriend and I started dating. And so he helped me raise him until he was 12 years old. And then we had our son together, who's now 8. He'll be 9 next month. And he wants me to take him to Nickelodeon Universe at the Mall of America. So that's going to be, I'm bringing my little step counter with me. Anyways, so that's kind of what I'm dealing with. Like, they're just not used to their dad not being around. And it's just so crazy because their dad can go off and go just date other girls and be with other women. But if I do it, it's World War III on me, right? I swear I just heard somebody in the spirit say, you need to tell them kids that they don't run Ish Desiree. Girl, you tell my kids that, okay? They think they do. No, but I really have been, like, having to check my kids a lot lately. And it's just like, I have been refraining from dating because of my kids, because they won't let me have a man comfortably. Like, I want them to just be able to be like, okay, mom, let's embrace your new boyfriend. But that's definitely not that energy. So I have been dating this new guy. We're not like in a relationship or together. It's just kind of like us getting together and spending time with each other. And I really, really like him a lot because he's really, really dominant. And I'm a really submissive woman. I like to be submissive to my husband or any guy I'm dating. You know what I'm saying? So I like that he's like, you know, he knows that he's a man. Whereas there's men out there that will just like let women run all over them. And those are the worst type of men for me because I'm already indecisive. So don't just let me control you at the same time, right? Also learning that guys who work out a lot typically like plus size girls. Like the last time he came over, he spent time like rubbing on my stomach, and that's like the worst area that you can rub on for a woman who's on a weight loss journey, and like just kind of squeezing like the fat on my stomach. And I'm just like, why do you keep doing that? And he's like, I just like plus size girls. He's like, I prefer to date plus size women. And I was like, huh, you know, like this whole time I'm over here thinking that I should refrain from dating guys with the big strong muscles. Excuse me. I should have been trying to chop them up the whole time because they like weight. I asked somebody, I was like, why is it that some, you know, bodybuilders like plus size women? They were like, they just like a challenge, like the weight. Like they love lifting weights. They're used to lifting weights. And dating a plus size woman is like a challenge. It's like lifting a heavy weight. I was like, why did that make so much sense? I don't really think that him and I are going to actually date. I think we'll actually have a relationship. I don't really see this going, because one thing, he's younger, and I like older guys. I like older men because they're like ready to settle down. I literally sat in my car crying this morning outside of the Holiday gas station in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, crying for like a half an hour about how I'm about to be 35 years old, having a whole midlife crisis, right? And I'm like, I'm not married. I'll be 35 this year. I'm looking at my face like, Lord, I have been fasting, working out, eating salads, and I just went back to being a vegetarian, and I'm like, my face is starting to snatch up a little bit. I just got out of a narcissistic abusive relationship. Those relationships do something to you. I don't care what nobody says. Here's evidence of it. This was me in my toxic 10-year relationship. I was so miserable, overweight. I didn't even care about myself. It was the narcissism was just, honey, I don't even know who that is. Like, that's me during COVID. And this photo I literally took of myself just like yesterday or the day before. Seriously, that's me single. You cannot tell me that narcissistic relationships don't do a number on the beauty, okay? Salads, loving myself, never ever settle, and never ever be with somebody that's gonna tear you down. Always date somebody that's gonna lift you up. Lord knows I'm still healing from that relationship. Okay? But now, Stella got her groove back, honey. Blush off, Lord. My wig is wet and wavy, so it's like the wavy kind of hair, so I'm just gonna leave it as is today. Normally, I curl it or straighten it, but that's what happens when you buy wet and wavy weave. All right, you guys, this is my final look. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Y'all will